Welcome to the Love and Peace Kitchen. Welcome back. Glad to have you with us again. So today we're going to do mushrooms paprika on request. A number of souls have requested that. Now, this is for you, of course. It has a very sweet scent. And what we need to look at is we're still in the time of lockdown, but are we all in our lockdown introvert state unlocking our inner treasures? It's really a time for that. And here I do actually have a bit of a treasure. Now, this treasure is our locally grown wild mushrooms. They're not cultivated at all. Now, these only come out in the rainy season and a few days after the rain, and one finds them growing on white ant mounds. They're not easy to get, and I have frozen these actually, which I do every season so that I'm ensured of a supply throughout the year. They are a delicacy. They are beautifully tasty. There's nothing quite like them. We call them makoa. So this is a little bit of a treasure in terms of food. And so I'm going to demonstrate mushrooms paprika with these mushrooms, which are really an all-time favorite. There are very few who can't relate to these mushrooms. And of course, if you don't have to have this type of mushroom. You can use button mushrooms. You can use actually a mixture of mushrooms, which is really fantastic. And the oyster mushrooms, of course, which are popular these days, and you can get a lot of. Our ingredients are olive oil, of course, the mushrooms, whatever type you can get, a little bit of asafoetida or hing, paprika, of course, seen that's mushrooms paprika, some chilli, which really adds to it. That's optional, of course. Salt and pepper, and you need a lot of ground black pepper on mushrooms. Cream, and I've got parsley today because I don't have dill. But really, believe you me, dill is the best thing on these mushrooms. But failing that, use parsley. So let's use a wok to cook to make the mushrooms paprika. I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of olive oil to my pan. Turn it onto a high heat. And when hot, I'm going to add the mushrooms. Now, I've frozen these in a bit of their liquid, which I don't really need for the dish, but it's not going to matter that some goes in because it will reduce, and also it adds to the flavor. So I'm using about 2 cups of mushrooms. You can say probably about a half kilo of mushrooms would be good. And of course, these have been boiled in advance to enable freezing. You could probably do that with any type of mushroom. And I'm going to add to my mushrooms a little bit of chili flake, red chili flake. You could use chili powder or cayenne pepper, either or. Now, this dish using paprika, and it uses about a tablespoon of paprika. So I'm going to use 2 good-sized teaspoons of paprika. This comes from Eastern Europe, where paprika grows. So I've got a high heat, and I'm going to allow that to reduce a little bit. And I'm going to add a little bit of hing. I'm going to add a liberal amount of black pepper. Okay, I've added a teaspoon of salt, and I'm now going to add, this is the equivalent of 1 cup of cream, so I'm going to add that 1 cup of cream to the dish. Now, this is actually one of those more awkward dishes, and it's not going to suit a coconut milk, put it that way. If you changed your flavoring, you could easily do it with a coconut milk. But your option, if you wanted to do this as a vegan, you could use a little bit of flour and add vegetable stock, and that would work perfectly well. And here we have our mushrooms paprika. You can see it's quite, the sauce has thickened. It's very creamy and delicious. So I can now plate that. You could, of course, add your dill now or your parsley. Plated mushrooms paprika. I use quite a lot of dill or parsley, in this case parsley, as I mentioned before. And I put it into one of my Indian containers. These are very handy containers because they're actually lined. So there's a copper outside and a stainless steel inner, so it keeps the food warmer. And yes, I've garnished with parsley. So that is the finished dish. I'm going to serve it with polenta. One can also serve it with rice or with pasta. It's very good with any of those starches. So there we have it, mushrooms, paprika made with makoa, a locally grown wild mushroom from Zimbabwe.